All right, everyone, a new left-wing mythology has emerged. Technically speaking, it's an old mythology, and that's the idea that Antifa does not actually exist at all. No, because they're anarchists, they have no organization, therefore there's no organization. This is very, very rudimentary non-logic. It is so easily disproven. When the left says, well, you're getting all hot under the collar about this mythological Antifa, but they're not even real. They don't, yeah, so in other words, people wave Antifa flags, they wear Antifa shirts, they call themselves Antifa, they've got a fundraising capability, but they don't actually exist. This is complete nonsense. Let me explain. Imagine you have a bunch of people, so you've got a non-organized organization. Okay. We'll grant that. We'll play devil's advocate and say, okay, Antifa totally isn't controlled by centralized funding sources like George Soros and people like that. We'll just give that to them. It doesn't even matter. Imagine that a bunch of people were to put on Ku Klux Klan uniforms and they stood on the street corner with the Confederate flag and the Kentucky battle flag, which is the actual flag that they fly. And they're burning a cross and stuff like that. And you go up to them and say, oh, you're members of the Klan, aren't you? No, no, we're an invisible empire. We don't even exist. We're not actually real. We're literally ghosts. That's sort of dress up. It's almost Halloween, so sort of makes sense. And they were to say, we don't have any organizational capacity. No, we're just getting together. We're burning a cross. Look, you can put some marshmallows on that. Get some of those up in you, boy. Nobody would take that seriously. They would say, of course it's an organization. It's got an organized structure. It is not organized in the sense that a standing army or something like or a political party is organized, but it is still organized. There are still local affiliates. They communicate with each other. They obviously have one singular particular ideology, and they get together and they do their thing once in a while, whatever things they happen to be doing. With Antifa, it's exactly the same way. There is no singular substructure that runs Antifa. This is something that we will admit to. Again, playing devil's advocate because of the funding resources, that's centralized. Let's put it that way. But there's no central singular organization called Antifa. But that doesn't mean that they're not organized. It doesn't mean, how do you think that dozens or even hundreds of people pour into a street at some random occasion? The cops are having a celebration, for some dude's 50th birthday. All of a sudden, these people show up and they've got nice, freshly laundered clothing. It's the only clothing that they launder that says Antifa. Well, I mean, that's an organization, dude. It's sort of like being part of a company or something like that. You company man. Uh, some of you will get the reference. Antifa does exist. And claims by the left, by the way, that Antifa isn't actually real, that literally it's just a phantom where we're basically punching out at shadows. They're number one disingenuous. That much is clear, and I think 99.9% of you already fucking know this. So number one, it's disingenuous because they know that they're lying to people. And number two, it's defeated even by Antifa's own comments. Antifa absolutely exists. When I was in the Netherlands, I'm seeing Antifa stickers everywhere. Well, somebody printed them out. Somebody put them up. The Antifa gnome, which is the ultimate goddamn cringe, by the way, that is actually a thing. Am I claiming that there's some international network behind Antifa? No, no, I don't claim that at all. I know that some people on the right, by the way, disagree with me when I say this. But fundamentally, that is false. It is local cells, but they're still organized. It doesn't matter. Wherever two or more are gathered, there's some form of creation, some form of organization that's going on. Obviously, it's like if I were to get together with 5 or 6 subscribers. Let's say that we go to the restaurant and we have a clanker, meeting of some sort, or we form our own fight club, which would be fucking hilarious. By the way, beat the shit out of me and be hysterical. Let's say that we form a fight club. All right. Is it loosely organized? Yeah, there's no international movement or anything like that, and we're not getting Soros money, very, very sadly. But it is still organized. There are still rules. There's a list of people who actually are part of your group, and so forth. It's like a school club or something like that. This is why I've always argued I do not believe that Antifa should be labeled a terrorist organization. They should be labeled a gang. Because the level of organization that they have, while we must acknowledge that it exists, is not the same, is not commensurate with international groups. It's more of a loose assortment. And so it should be labeled a gang, like the Crips or the Bloods or some cartel or some, well, the cartels would be better organized, I think, at this point too, or something like that. And are they an existential threat to the Western world? No, they're a bunch of pussies, actually, which is really, really funny. Yeah, I love it when they try to mob some dude. He's like a former Army Ranger or a Marine or something like that, or a fucking Navy SEAL, and he's stacked. And he was like, yeah, I'm 300 pounds of pure muscle. Do you know what I ate the other day? 5 ribeye steaks. And then you'll see these little shrimpy Antifa members trying to jump him. Oh, I love that. I love that footage. Please send me more of it. But Antifa does exist. It is a criminal organization. It's just not a terrorist organization because they're too unintelligent to actually organize that much. They get international terrorist money, though, and nobody can really deny this. All of the so-called, I hate this term, so-called influencers that are pro-Antifa and stuff, who's paying them? How much do you think that they get per post just to shit post on Twitter and to astroturf and to bot themselves into oblivion? These people are making thousands of dollars for making a goddamn tweet. And it's universally pro-far leftism. Commies and Antifa, which supposedly is anarchist, but it's not. And that's the other thing that I would like to speak about really briefly here before I end the video. Antifa is not anti-fascist, and it's not an anarchist movement. It is a communist bloc. It is a commie movement. They believe in authoritarianism as long as the authoritarianism is aimed at people that they disagree with. They can't possibly be anarchists because they believe in utilizing the state substructure in order to enact their agenda. They are simply communists. Die in the wool, fucking commies. They're commies. And you would know this if you listen to what they say on a regular basis. It doesn't sound a very lot like, hey, we need statelessness. The state is the problem. No, it's more like the state is currently a problem, but we want to use that state. We want to use the ring of power, basically, to conquer Mordor. Because the people that we don't agree with, they're the Nazis and stuff like that. Well, that's not the way that it works, my dude. It's never going to accomplish anything. Antifa is useless, fundamentally. If you believe in the concept of having a society that, if not stateless, at the very least, the state is off to the side. You're not being abused. You're able to just do your thing. You know, you want to smoke your pot? I agree with you, by the way. Go ahead and smoke your reefer. If you want that kind of state, you're not going to get it with a group like Antifa. What you're going to get is some fucking commie block bullshit. You can get Soviet Union 2.0. Sounds real great. Ah, shit. Well, that's right. Everyone who lived behind the Iron Curtain who wasn't ethnically Russian fucking hates the concept. Very interesting. I wonder why that could possibly be. Once you sort that out in your mind, you'll understand why Antifa is a bad idea. But they're not terrorists, they are gang members. They're not organized enough to be terrorists, but they are organized enough to be a criminal street gang, and they should be treated accordingly. That's about all. Peace out.